This is a replay from a live chat in the Spread the Word Facebook group. I would like to share it with the viewers of the Meri Atelier. This is a faith-based video because I realized viewers of the Meri Atelier are of many different faiths. I have put the comments on an approval basis. Please comment. I will see it and approve of polite comments. The like and dislike option is also hidden from view. However, please hit a thumbs up. I will see it in my administrator area. Thank you so much for watching and commenting. Meri at the Meri Atelier. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. First of all, I'm just going to say I put Spread the Word group, and this is chat, a live chat on Facebook. And the theme of it is faith-based glue books. And of course, this is just my little welcome sheet here. I'm Meri Abrams, and I have a YouTube channel called the Meri Atelier. And actually, I think I got to know you, Susan, on YouTube, didn't I? I think I did, because I really was on YouTube before I was on Facebook, and then we all kind of wandered over to Facebook. So, the purpose of this chat is to discuss creating a glue book with a faith-based theme. Have any of you ever created what you consider a glue book itself, different than an art journal or scrapbooking? Have you ever just focused on doing a glue book? I have to say, I've done more art journaling than glue books. But I've been making a lot of glue books recently. My artsy friends over in the My Year group have gotten me started on it. And these are a few that I've started this year. Now, these are not faith-based, but these can give you an idea about what a glue book might look like. I put a link to, in the announcement for this chat, to the definition of a glue book at the Urban Dictionary, and if you have time, go check out that link because it really gives a good definition of what you might consider a glue book to be. And this is one. This is just a little elastic band that I put as a closure. This is one that I made out of Country Living and Romantic Home magazines. I got them at the library. And little note cards, and this is a window envelope. It's got a little glassine cover there, and I actually did glue the page down to that, and it just makes a little window in the front cover. And all of these images here are, well, this was mostly from the Romantic Homes magazine, but they're all magazine images, and this is more of a decorator type magazine, romantic homes, flowers, gardens, that type of thing. But those things appealed to me, and I just had so much fun putting this together. If you look the right way, you can see that the whole world is a garden. Just pull the quote. These images came from different issues, different magazines. I think this bee came from the Capper's Farmer magazines. I picked up a whole bunch of magazines, free magazines at the library. And I just spent probably maybe a week, 2 weeks, putting this entire little glue book together. I love these images. These were actually, in the Romantic Homes magazine, were just a section of a full page of advertisement, and for like a decorator store, I can't even think, like a gift store type thing. And they had all these little strips of these little artsy ephemeras, and I used them throughout this entire book. And they were just so fun to find. So this is really, I think, one of the first glue books that I've done. Just so fun to create it. That actually is letters off of license plates. Flowers. This is a cow a glass figurine of a cow. And this was barn art, quilt pieces that they put on barns. And so that's one glue book that I did. I'll just throw it off over here. This one I'm creating as I chat. I'll start a YouTube video, and I'm pulling images that I've fussy cut and pasting them down, and then I chat as I'm pasting them down. I've only done 1 or 2 videos of this. It's kind of new, unfinished, but it is the beginnings of a glue book. This is one that I created, but I haven't done anything in it yet. These are just the signatures, and I thought I'd show it to show that there's a painted paper here. This is a waxed paper, drop paper. I use wax paper for my drop papers until recently. Recently I've been using wrapping paper. And this was a wipe-off page. Here I was having fun with, this wasn't the jelly print yet. This was a mark making tool. It wasn't a stencil because I don't have many stencils. This is from the fine line paint applicator, my little lines out of there. And I just folded it in half and put it together and just built this entire signature for the glue book. This was from a needlework book. So you can make pages for your glue books almost like a junk journal. All you're doing is collecting old pages to use as your glue book. You can use calendars or book pages, ledger pages. And what you're seeing for the cover is actually a paper bag that I got at the grocery store, a grocery sack that I painted with bronze metallic paint. And this was stamped off the jelly plate and I stamped with a earbud case. At the Dollar Tree, these little earbud cases come in little round cases, and they have these little fixtures in there, and they really made an interesting image. So I put it on, glued it on the front. The other glue book that I have to show you, this was fun to do. This one I actually did when I was in a Google Hangout with, hi Jerry! Oh, and Peta, hi! I was talking about this one. I was in a Google Hangout with Gina and Cindy and Jerry, and while we were chatting, I put together these signatures. This one's just about finished. I need to wax the pages. They aren't waxed yet. But here again, I have the same things. This was a calendar page. This is just a big cutout of a sunflower out of, I think this came out of a Midwest Living. I can't remember where the sunflower came. This clock plate came out of the Romantic Homes. This was a letter. I went through a lot of these free magazines that I got at the library. This letter was really interesting. You know how I like letters. This was a letter written, and it says, Dear World. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the author of the letter was a student at the Columbine High School when that shooting happened. And she's telling all her feelings and how she had to adjust to it. And she ends it, she says, so reach out, be kind, don't forget to notice our similarities instead of focusing on our differences. And I thought that was such a neat letter, so I put it right at the beginning. And I'm still gluing things in, cats and butterflies. This, I believe, came out of the Romantic Homes, this bird cage. Butterflies and flowers. Here's some washi tape that I created on labels. And this is actually the back of the label paper. And I did that with my fine line paint applicator. So you can get an idea of what I'm doing for glue books. Not everybody does glue books the same way, and not everybody puts the same things in glue books, and that's okay. That's all right. That's fine. You know, some of these pages aren't finished yet. Some of them are sticking. I got another one in here? No, there's a pocket in here. These are a couple of my favorite pages just because they're in the center and they're black and I have these bold flowers on there. But if you look at the videos on YouTube of different glue books, you'll see a lot of different approaches to them. And one that comes to my mind right away, because I've been watching her channel recently, is Dede Willingham. And she has a, I guess she calls it a glue book. I'm not sure if she calls it a desk book or a glue book. But she glues down the image on her page and then she'll sketch from that image. She might extend it, you know, she might put like the torso of the body and then draw the head on it, or she'll actually sketch on it in addition to putting down the images. So I've been enjoying her solutions to glue books. And some of these are just scrap papers that I've had around. This is a book out of an actual picture out of a book. This came from the Smithsonian, and some of this is sticky. I need to wax these. I haven't waxed this book yet. This was a pattern for one of the pages that I made in my year 2000 around the Easter. That's a bunny. Bunny star. So I'll put a lot of scraps in my glue books. So, and this is another one of my favorite pages too. I just love that Amish girl there, and then the baby and the dog. Unrelated images, except for she actually was on a black background, so I just painted out the pages black. And I added this little girl. She was napping and the dog was laying down beside her. And then this was out of the Smithsonian, and it's really one of my favorite too. I used scraps from that German Bible that I found that was falling apart, and I put that there. But this picture, I looked at it and I didn't even think about it, and I just said, oh, an old picture, and I put it down. And later I was reading the page around it, and this was actually I think this was one of Thomas Jefferson's slaves at the time. She is holding a little child, and that just took a whole new meaning for me. That Smithsonian magazine that I cut images out of had 101 historical American objects, pictures of it. It's really an interesting magazine. So, and this page is actually, I don't know if you can tell it. Let me pull. You can tell it this way. I cut around his shoulders and his head and around the airplane. And he's actually was a coach here in Nebraska. And I think he's actually looking up at the scoreboard, but I put him looking up at this airplane, and it has "the sky's the limit." So I kind of like to take unrelated images and put them together and make them mean something. And it kind of tells a story. Here too, my drop paper here is waxed paper. 101 images. It says this is what memories are made out of, and then it says fireflies at dusk, and there's a little girl, and she's really reaching for fireflies. But that drop paper just makes it look like an evening, and maybe the stars in the background there. So this is what a glue book means to me. This is from Cindy Seinzetter, had a challenge where she sent us this Picasso image, and I had made a copy of it because I knew I wanted to cut it up, and this is the pattern of the copy that I had cut up when I created my piece. And I didn't want to throw it away, so I glued them down. So this kind of, not all of these pages are finished for me yet. The front of the book is a tea towel that I found at Walmart, and this is a jeans belt off of one of my brother's old pair of blue jeans. He had a whole bunch of blue jeans, and he didn't want it anymore, so I washed them, and I've been cutting them up and using them. So, those are my glue books. So, glue books are, and then there's a link to a definition there. People have different ideas of what a glue book can be, and that's okay. That's fine. A glue book is kind of what you want it to be. And I was thinking about them more. I'm going to go to the next page. How are they different than our art journals, our scrapbooks, our Bible art journals, because we are a faith-based group here, and our spiritual journals? So, in a sense, they're very similar because you're creating something visual. Our art journals, when we create an art journal page, they're similar in a lot of ways in that we're using visuals. But I see a glue book as more as using ephemera that you've accumulated, like images out of a magazine or, maybe some mail art or something like that. And you're focusing on putting those things down on your page. When you're creating an art journal page, you're doing much the same thing, but you get into painting and quotes and just a little bit different focus. Scrapbooks, I think that our glue books differ from scrapbooks in that scrapbooks in today's world, probably more so than scrapbooks 20 or 30 years ago, are focused more on photographs, taking pictures of your kids and creating a mat and creating art around them. In our glue books, you can put photographs in your glue books, but it's not an entire book of your child's life or something like that. So that's kind of how I differentiate between a glue book and an art journal and a scrapbook. How about our Bible art journals and our spiritual journals? And here again, I think our Bible art we're doing in our Bible, we can use a Bible as a glue book, but you're probably not as apt to glue ephemera down in your Bible. And also, I see spiritual journals and Bibles. I don't know about you, but if you've been in groups or heard people talk about spiritual journaling, I've heard a lot of leaders say, I have all these journals. I have a stack of all these journals, and they're under my bed, under lock and key, and I have one friend who knows where to get to them when I die. And that's okay, but that to me says the spiritual journals for a lot of us are very personal. They're very private. They are our way of communicating with the Lord when we're talking to Him. And a lot of journaling is sorting stuff out in your own life and things that you just don't want the whole world to see. But I see a glue book as more as something that you could put out on your coffee table. You could say, oh, look, this is the ephemera that I found from such and such a magazine, and I combined it with this. And it's more of a, I hate to say it, it's more of a picture book that you put together, which is, for me, I think that's really great. So that's how I'm differentiating a glue book from a Bible or a spiritual journal. I just don't think that they're both art. They're all using visuals. But I think when you create a glue book, it's more public. It's more meant for public consumption, whereas a spiritual journal and possibly even a Bible art journal, depending on how you create it, might be a little bit more personal. Some Bible art journaling, though, I mean, they're on YouTube and they do videos and all of that. So not all Bible art journaling is done for personal reasons. But usually when we do Bible art journaling, it's a form of, for a lot of us, worshiping the Lord just as if you were singing a song. And I guess doing a glue book could be worshiping the Lord too if He's helping you do it. So the other thought I had was, what can be used as a glue book? And you saw some of the things I use. You can use for the pages when you put together the signatures. You can use scrap papers, which I may fold these in half sometime in the future and glue things over them and have, these are just notes that I have from this little live session. Old stationery, junk mail, old calendars, ads, papers, you can alter books, almost like a junk journal. The size of a glue book, I think that your length and the width of your paper matters, and the number of signatures that you have also matter. If you have a smaller glue book, even smaller in size this way, such as this little one that I did. I threw it off over here. Let me get it. I am more apt to finish this than I am one. Well, and I may finish it, but this one, the size of this book, and I'm going to show it to you later, is, I think I measured it was 12 by 9 or something like that, 9 by 12. It's a larger page format. This is a lot smaller. You have to have smaller ephemera to fit in here. But also, you don't want to get too many signatures in your glue book. If you make it too fat, you're gluing and gluing and gluing and gluing, and that's okay if that's what you want to do. But if you are focused on getting your glue book finished, and this just did not take me very long. I did not keep track, but I did not spend more than a couple weeks on this. And I had a lot of the base images done in a couple days. And then you can come back, and I could still go back in and work on it if I want, but I waxed the pages so I consider it finished. So if you're creating a glue book, think about the size. Do you want a small one that you can, especially if you're starting out, I would encourage doing a small one. Just fold a couple pieces of paper together, maybe cut them in half, and just do a couple signatures to see if that's something you really like. You're more apt to finish it than if you create something huge and big and it's going to take you 3 months to get it finished. However, I think that there are advantages to doing a larger one. I find that I'm on a search now for images, and a lot of images I find are large images. There's no way that they're going to fit in this little bitty glue book. So in that sense, you want to use it because it's a beautiful image. You're in love with it. So you actually need a larger page. But then again, I would still, even with the larger ones, I would not put as many signatures or folio in that book. I mean, unless you really are aware that you're going to be spending a lot of time on it.